You never actually tried to stop it. At some point, his arm rested along the back of the couch. Casual. Unintentional. At least, that's what I told myself. Our shoulders brushed once. Then again. I didn't react. Didn't move away. Told myself it meant nothing. But the air in the room had changed. It felt warmer. Closer. Smaller. His knee touched mine briefly. Then didn't move away right away. I shifted slightly. He adjusted too. And without either of us acknowledging it, the distance between us disappeared. Our hands reached for the popcorn at the same time. Fingers brushing. Neither of us pulling back immediately. That moment lingered longer than it should have. Long enough for something inside me to shift. Long enough for awareness to replace innocence. I looked at him. He wasn't watching the movie. He was watching me. Not casually. Not politely. But honestly. Unfiltered. And suddenly I felt it. That subtle, undeniable tension. The kind you can't explain away. My stomach tightened. I turned my gaze back to the screen. But I could still feel his attention. It was there. Heavy. Unspoken. My phone vibrated on the table. I didn't need to look to know who it was. But I did anyway. His name lit up the screen. My husband. Calling. I didn't reach for it. Didn't move. Didn't even hesitate. And in that moment, that single choice, I should have understood how far I had already drifted. Daniel's fingers brushed mine again. This time, I didn't move. You're quiet, he said gently. Do you want me to leave? That was it. That was my moment. My exit. My chance to stop everything before it went any further. One word. That's all it would have taken. Yes. And the night would have ended. Clean. Simple. Contained. But I said nothing. And in that silence, I learned something terrifying. Not about him, but about myself. Because the most dangerous moments in life aren't the ones where you lose control. They're the ones where you realize. Like he was already preparing himself for rejection. Movie night, he said softly. I made too much popcorn. I knew what the right response was. A polite laugh. A quick thank you but no. A closed door. That's what a good wife would have done. That's what I should have done. But loneliness has a way of distorting things. It stretches time. Turns seconds into something heavier. Makes hesitation feel harmless. Makes the wrong decisions look innocent. And I hesitated. Just long enough. Then I stepped aside. He walked in. Comfortably. Not awkwardly. Not cautiously. Comfortably. And somehow, that unsettled me more than if he had been nervous. He placed the popcorn on the table. Set the movies down. Then sat on the couch as if he had done it before. As if this wasn't unusual. As if this wasn't crossing a line. The warm, buttery smell of popcorn filled the room. It mixed with a faint trace of his cologne. Something unfamiliar, yet oddly comforting in a way I didn't want to examine too closely. We picked a movie. At least, I think we did. The screen lit up. Images moved. Dialogue filled the air. But neither of us was really watching. We started talking. About work. About random, insignificant memories. About things that didn't matter. And somehow about things that mattered more than they should have. Daniel listened differently. Not like someone waiting for their turn to speak. Not like someone distracted. But fully present. Engaged. Genuine. And I didn't realize how much I had missed that. How long it had been since someone listened to me like my words actually meant something. Not out of obligation. Not out of routine. But because they wanted to. I found myself talking more than I intended. Sharing things I hadn't said out loud in months. Not complaints. Not accusations. Just truths. The quiet kind. The ones you carry without realizing their weight. Until someone gives you permission to put them down. If someone had asked me what I was watching, I wouldn't have been able to answer. Even though my eyes were fixed on the screen. I wasn't watching. I just needed noise. Silence in an empty house has a way of growing louder the longer you sit with it. It fills spaces you didn't know existed. It presses against you. Reminds you of everything that isn't there. About 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message. From my husband. I'll call you later. I stared at the screen for a moment. Later usually meant tomorrow, or the next day, or whenever he remembered. I locked the phone without replying, told myself it was enough. It had to be enough. I stood at the sink, rinsing my glass, watched as the last traces of red wine swirled down the drain, disappearing as if they had never been there at all. That's when I heard it. A knock. Soft. Not urgent. Not aggressive. Just patient. I froze. No one ever visited that late. For a moment, I didn't move. My first instinct was to ignore it, convince myself it wasn't meant for me. Maybe someone had the wrong door. Maybe it was nothing. Then it came again. Same rhythm. Same quiet persistence. And somehow, that made it more unsettling. Because it wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Curiosity replaced hesitation. Slowly, I walked toward the door. And when I opened it, Daniel was standing there. My neighbor. Early 30s. Quiet. Polite in that distant way people are when they share space but not lives. We had exchanged small smiles near the mailbox. Brief greetings in passing. Occasional comments about the weather or parking spaces. Nothing personal. Nothing meaningful. Nothing memorable. And yet there he was. Standing on my doorstep. Holding 2 DVDs in one hand. And a bowl of freshly made popcorn in the other. Steam still rose gently from it, curling into the cool night air. He smiled, but it wasn't confident. It was hesitant. Work trips had become routine in our marriage. At first, they felt temporary, something we would get through together. But over time, they blurred into something constant. Airports started to look the same. Hotel rooms carried that identical, impersonal scent, clean, but never comforting. Cities came and went. None of them really belonging to him, or to us. In the beginning, I used to protest. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in small quiet ways. I would stand by the door as he prepared to leave, holding on to his sleeve just a second longer than necessary. Not enough to stop him, but enough to say, I wish you would stay. Sometimes I joked about it, pretending my words were lighthearted. Don't forget me while you're gone, I'd say with a smile. But underneath the humor, there was truth. I wasn't joking when I told him the house felt different after he left. Too quiet. Too large. Too empty in a way that silence alone couldn't explain. He always gave me the same reassurance. Just a few more trips, he would say. Just until things settle down. It won't always be like this. And I wanted to believe him. I really did. But eventually something changed, not in him but in me. I stopped asking him to stay. Not because it hurt less, but because pretending I was okay became easier than admitting I wasn't. That evening unfolded like so many others before it. Predictable. Quiet. Empty in a way that had started to feel normal. I made dinner for one. Something simple. Something that didn't require much thought. The food filled my stomach, but not my appetite. I chewed slowly, mechanically, barely tasting anything. It wasn't hunger I was trying to satisfy. It was something else. Something harder to name. A glass of wine sat beside me. Not because I particularly wanted it, but because it had become part of the routine. A habit. A placeholder. The television played in the background. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support helps us share more amazing stories. Most life-changing moments don't arrive with noise. They don't burst through the door with raised voices, shattered glass, or dramatic confessions that leave everything exposed in an instant. There's no music swelling in the background, no warning signs flashing red. No one hands you a script and says this is the moment everything changes. Sometimes life shifts quietly. So quietly, in fact, that you don't even notice it happening. Sometimes it begins with something so ordinary, you almost dismiss it. A simple knock on a door. That's it. No sander. No chaos. Just a soft, patient knock. And yet, that one small moment, the kind you would forget by morning, has the power to unravel everything you thought you understood about love, loyalty, and the slow, invisible weight of loneliness. So get comfortable. Because this isn't just a story about a movie night. It's a story about how a decision so small it feels harmless can slowly, quietly redirect an entire life. while you're still convinced nothing has changed. I never imagined that an ordinary evening could carry so much weight. There was no warning. No sudden tightness in my chest. No instinct whispering that something was about to shift beneath my feet. The world didn't pause for me. Cars continued to pass outside, their headlights sweeping briefly across the walls. The refrigerator hummed steadily in the kitchen. The clock ticked with its usual rhythm. Unbothered, consistent, indifferent. Nothing dramatic happened. Nothing broke. Nothing screamed. The danger didn't crash into my life. It arrived gently and settled somewhere inside me before I even realized it was there. My husband was away again that night.